Well, we're talking to Harrison Schmitt, Dr. Harrison Schmitt. Jack Schmitt, one of the Apollo astronauts, walked to the moon, took the most famous photo, one of the most famous photos ever of the moon and the little blue marble out there. We're going to talk about that later. But you're a doctor in this. I'm just somebody who studies it and interviews scientists and people. But Al Gore got caught, according to all the ice core samples and people that I've interviewed and seen on television. He put the carbon dioxide going up with the warming, when really the carbon dioxide comes after the warming, as you just said. That's from all the governments, all the universities, all the ocean studies, ice cores, correct? So that's more cooking the books. And then they've also caught, some of the top global warming supporters accidentally, and I put that in quotes, having false data from their weather stations and buoys, jacking up numbers. So I just don't see how they say it's an open and shut case when the majority of scientists polled out there say that it's completely natural and that man-made global warming is a fraud.
Well, it is being used fraudulently. There's no question about it, and it's being used for political purposes. And hopefully, the American people have started to realize that. Certainly, there are surveys that indicate that the common sense of the American people on climate change is starting to take hold, as it apparently is on health care revisions and the so-called stimulus package, where there is a concerted effort in the new administration and the Congress that's supporting them, and the what one might call the state-run media to support them, to move this country in directions that increase government control of just about every major facet of our lives.
Absolutely. They wouldn't let anybody see 300 pages of the 1,300-page bill till right when they voted on it. Now we have it. Home inspections, federal power to kick you out of your house if they want, take over all the land. It allows 30-plus federal agencies to just levy taxes and fines outside Congress's power. It's kind of a letter of marque just being given to any agency or group to go out and piratically shake down the public.
Well, it's not encouraging. Liberty is definitely threatened under this current in this current political environment, and all of us who believe in liberty are going to have to begin to take steps to counter it. And it's encouraging to see the governors and the legislatures of a few states starting to push back in terms of gaining a founder's interpretation of the 10th Amendment, namely that amendment that leaves everything not enumerated in the Constitution to the authority of the private sector or the state. And so that is, I think, a very, very encouraging trend, and I certainly hope that they'll continue in that direction to at least try to put the brakes on the legal brakes, the constitutional brakes on what's happening.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, the polls show you're right, that people are finally, they've gone from 60+% a few years ago, believing man-made global warming was this big threat and we were all dead and carbon dioxide was deadly poison and would kill you in seconds, to now realizing that it is a fraud and a hoax and just a new tax. Now they've only got about 40% support, and that's imploding quickly. But it seems like the federal government, and as you said, the state-controlled media, the big corporate media, they want this new tax, they want this control, and they don't care. It looks like they're going to just ram it through, maybe.
Well, we'll see. There's a lot of resistance, there's pushback now, and the August recess should help us as the common sense of the American people is put forward to their representatives, and we'll just see how we come out of this particular period. You mentioned the corporate media. I would not necessarily blame it on it being corporate media. It's just media that's in the tank for this change, socialistic change in our political system, and it's because just about everybody in the media now, reporters, analysts, and otherwise, have come out of an elementary, secondary, and college education that has been dominated by people who have less respect for liberty than you and I.
Well, yes, sir. Again, we're talking to Apollo astronaut, Dr. Schmitt. My point was Rex Tillerson at ExxonMobil said, look, we've looked at this. This is just a tax on oil. This is a fraud. And then David Rockefeller, the majority owner, at a board meeting, this was in the news, said, you're going to come out and say it's real. And so even Rex Tillerson came out and said, okay, it's real. So when you see the NFL and every other big organization pushing it, when the American Football League the National Football League is pushing it, we know the establishment's behind it. Are you saying that that's just the incredible peer pressure and hype? Or some scientists are saying this is the new global religion. This is the new organizing force.
Well, it has certain characteristics of a religion in that there's a great amount of faith that the climate modelers have the right answer. But it is also, I think, related to a much longer-term ideological battle that's been going on far before climate change came along. It's an ideological battle of those that believe that you should maximize human liberty under certain guidelines, such as our Constitution, and those who feel that you should give up human liberty for a variety of their particular ideological reasons.
Well, I agree with you, Dr. Schmitt. We're about to break. We'll come back and get into some other issues as well, like healthcare with you. Then, of course, get into the moon itself and what it's like to be an astronaut who's been off the planet. I guess you're amongst people who've been the farthest away from the Earth of anybody else in the world. I know your mission was supposedly there the longest, right? If I'm not quoting that wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I was having an amazing conversation just now with Dr. Schmitt, Apollo astronaut. We're going to get into all the space stuff in the next segment. And I brought up to him Eco-Science, Population, Resources, and Environment by John P. Holdren, the White House science czar, the guy that wants global warming taxes and to terraform the Earth with particula to save us. I mean, this is wild stuff. I mean, here's the Wall Street Journal saying they want to chemtrail us. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. Sir, we were talking during the break. What do you liken this to? This saying, drug the water supply, sterilize the men and women. He says in this book, take all the children at birth and raise them in communal commune buildings, like communist China tried, but it failed. You say you're aware of some of this. They admit in this book they want to use global warming taxes as a cover for their communism.
Well, I think that there are individuals, Holdren apparently among them, who, and a very large number, who have taken the environment, shall we say, captured the environmental movement and turned it into what previously was considered a communist movement. And that's just something that people of common sense are going to have to continue to counter and wake up enough so that they take control of their government again. It certainly is extremely important that the United States maintain itself as the beacon of liberty on this planet. There are all sorts of issues, space is included in that, where if we are not taking a leadership role in preserving liberty, then it will disappear. Because other nations have so far tolerated a continued attack on liberty that has been going on now, certainly since the turn of this century.
Well, Doctor, you're obviously very well-read.
Turn of the last century, since the 1900s.
Absolutely. I mean, Doctor, you're obviously very well read on just the current news. I'm sure you've seen the announcements where they're saying, oh, we're going to have a new Bank of the World. You're going to pay your carbon taxes, a new world order. Al Gore called for a world government 2 weeks ago. to, quote, administer the environmental movement. I mean, clearly that's what Holdren